Hello everyone, hope you are all well. Now, we saw a new form of motorsport make its inaugural bow this weekend with Extreme E kicking off in Saudi Arabia in the Al Luar Desert. An all-new, all-electric racing series that will take place across 5 different countries in 4 different continents, all to spread awareness of climate change. Now, it has been a few days since the inaugural event in Saudi Arabia, but I wanted to take some time to look over the event again, go through what I thought was good, what I think can be improved, because first things first, I really enjoyed it. It was good to see something different, a new format, new locations, new cars, and just to try something different. And from that, there was plenty to admire about the project, and it produced some really good moments. It shows another step in electric technology. We're seeing locations that we have never seen before, side-by-side racing, which we don't normally get in off-road formats, particularly in rallying, which is far more time trial based. And we saw men and women competing equally in equal machinery for the first time really ever, in terms of a 50-50 split in the drivers. And it showed that there wasn't really any difference between the women and the men's drivers. There were some times where the women were faster, sometimes the men were faster, and there were other times when they were very, very equal in terms of their pace. So it was a really big step from Extreme E, and I think something new that we haven't really seen before. And it was really encouraging and great to see as we try and get more women in motorsport and on the grid. Of course, it attracted some of the biggest names from the pinnacle of motorsport, with Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg resuming their Formula One rivalry in Extreme E as team owners. We saw Jenson Button, who also owns his own team. He was driving in the race as well. And as for the drivers, we had 9-time WRC champion Sebastian Loeb. He was driving for Lewis Hamilton's team. We had 2-time World Rally champion and father of Carlos Sainz Jr., Carlos Sainz, as well as seeing Johan Kristoffersson, Jamie Chadwick, Katie Munnings, and Cristina Gutierrez. It was a great lineup, with the eventual winner being Nico Rosberg's team, piloted by Johan Kristoffersson and Molly Taylor, as they beat out Lewis Hamilton's X44 team and Andretti United in the final. And whilst I really enjoyed the event and there was plenty of positives to take away from it, there were some teething problems and some issues that I do think need addressing. A competitive field with equal machinery promised some really close battles, but in reality, because of the sand and the dust kicked up from the desert, whoever won the battle into turn 1 would end up streaking off into the distance, because the cars behind couldn't keep up because they couldn't see. The end result of that being a lack of action across a lot of the racing. They were won by 20 or 30 seconds even. And the only one that didn't was the shootout between Chip Ganassi and Abt Kupra, who collided on the final lap to take each other out of the race, with the lack of visibility playing a really big part in that accident. It has already been discussed whether a full time trial format will be the best thing for Extreme E going forward, but I don't think that that's the right approach. I really enjoyed seeing some side-by-side racing off-road. And in some of the other events that are coming up in the likes of Senegal, Argentina and Brazil, where there isn't dust to kick up and sand to kick up, hopefully we will see much closer racing. Next up, I did just want to talk about the format because I found it wasn't exactly that clear about how it was going to work. I did look it up before the event and it wasn't that clear to me going into it. And then it came to qualifying, where one driver went round and then they swapped and then they would go around again, and then that time was added together, which was simple enough. And then we had a second qualifying where the drivers swapped in the running order, and then I just couldn't really make out what the time meant. Were they added together? Were you only taking the fastest time? It was eventually cleared up that they added the times together and then that would form the grids, but it just wasn't clear from the get-go. I also found myself a bit confused about how the finals works and who goes through. So you had the top 2 from the first race, they went through, and they were the top 3 qualifiers. And then the second race, the fastest from that race went through, but the others didn't. See, I'm getting confused now. I just don't think it was that clear, and it was a little bit confusing to figure it out. But then again, this is a brand new racing series that's only started a few days ago. there are going to be these teething problems. I mean, if you take Formula One, the format that we have nowadays isn't the format that they started with in 1950. In fact, the current format that we have has only really been in place since, I think, 2005. And even now we're talking about sprint races or whether reverse grids would be an idea. The format keeps changing and keeps evolving. And the same is going to happen for Extreme E. I don't think it should be that much of a taint on it. I think they were trying something different. Wasn't totally clear, although I feel like now I do understand it. So going forward, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but it will keep evolving and will keep changing. Maybe they will go to a full time trial format if they think that works better. But they need time, they need events to happen, they need races, they need data, and we will see as it goes on. There is unsurprisingly a great team behind Extreme E who've done so much great work with Formula E and making that into a format that has attracted so many audiences and turned it into a really exciting racing series. Yes, it wasn't smooth right at the very start, but nowadays they're really good, entertaining events, and I'm sure Extreme E is going to go the same way. And with the production as well, they had an awesome team behind it. They had Jenny Gao, Layla Anna Lee, Andrew Coley, Karen Jandok was great on comms as ever. So I have no doubt that production-wise, they'll have a lot of these issues sorted out for when we next go racing in Senegal. And as for the event, as I said, it's going to take time, it's going to evolve, it's going to change, and they will eventually find a happy balance that irons out all of these issues. One thing that I did want to talk about though was the message of Extreme E, because I feel as though that didn't really shine through in the coverage that I watched. Of course, as I said at the start of this video, a big part of this is spreading awareness about climate change and environments that are in desperate need of our help. And they have employed some great people to look at that. But within the racing, that part didn't really seem to shine through. I was sitting there wanting to know, why are we in the desert? Why are we in this particular desert? Why are we racing in Saudi Arabia? What is it about this desert that I need to be paying attention to? And I was sitting there really waiting for someone to tell me why, and it never really came across. They did produce content and it was available to watch on their YouTube channel or on their social media as well. But having it as optional means that people can just choose not to watch it. And from the numbers that I've seen, it looks as though that people have been. If we take their YouTube channel as an example, they have over 60,000 subscribers. The races are getting 100,000 views per video, so people are engaging with it. But their video on desertification has less than 6,000 views. So clearly the message isn't being looked at and isn't getting across. In order to change this, I liken it to here in the UK when we have Comic Relief, Sport Relief, or Children in Need, which are programs that have entertaining parts about them, funny sketches, music, other things like that, but they're intertwined with films showcasing people that need our financial support and charities that need our financial support that we can donate to. They're integrated into the program. They're not put somewhere else on a platform where we can choose to watch it if we want, because then it wouldn't get anywhere near the amount of exposure as it needs to. It is front and center of the program and it's supported by the entertainment. And I think for Extreme E, they need to do something very similar. We need to see, why are these areas that we're going to important? What's so special about them? Why do they need our support? Where can we support them? How can we support them? Why are clean emissions important? What is Extreme E doing to support these problems? And putting that content intertwined with the racing, I think would get the message across a lot better. And people who, maybe are waiting between qualifying sessions or waiting between the races at the end, they'll see it and it'll get far more exposure and far more people are going to watch it. So, in conclusion, I really enjoyed the first weekend and there is a lot of promise for Extreme E built on some really good foundations. There are some problems that need ironing out with the format, and also there needs to be, I think, a bit more about the environment and about climate change if they really want that message to shine through. But I'm sure they will fix these problems in no time really, and I think we'll see an improvement at the next event in Senegal and beyond into the future. I think Extreme E has a really big future and a lot of promise, and is a great addition to the motorsport calendar. So that's it for this video. I'll be making a lot more content about motorsport in the near future. So if you'd like to see some more, and if you have any video ideas, make sure you drop them down in the comment section below. Also, let me know what you thought about Extreme E. Did you enjoy the event? Will you be tuning into the next one? I'd love to hear what you've got to say in the comments down below. I'm sure we can have a good discussion. If you can also like this video and subscribe to this YouTube channel, that would mean a lot to me as well. But yes, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.